This is Franchise Today, brought to you by FRM Solutions, providers of the best-in-class software solutions for franchise relationship management. Franchise Today is your destination for weekly information, conversations, and interviews with accomplished industry leaders, all of whom share best practices for sustainable growth and sensible franchising. Here now, your host, Stan Friedman, to kick off this week's podcast.
Today is Wednesday, May 12th. I'm Stan Friedman, and this is Franchise Today. Well, today we're going to break from the serious and have a little fun. But first, many thanks to Bruce Melman for joining us again last week. Bruce is proof positive that not all Washington insiders are stuffy narcissists who breathe their own inside the Beltway ether. Bruce is insightful and straight down the middle of the bipartisan road with his wisdom and insights, and he will no doubt join the short list of regulars like Jimmy John, who I have regularly made it a practice to invite back from time to time. We'll see how it goes, but if I were betting, I'd bet too that today's guest will be amongst those as well. Leo Resig is at the helm of Atmosphere TV, an amazing company that makes money having serious fun. And what's better than that is that Leo insists that everyone on his team do as he does. You'll in fact hear that for yourselves today. Leo's business was born out of an early days hipster e-commerce site called The Chivery, offering really cool t-shirts and merch for any occasion to young men and women. Well, fast forward the tape, and that little project morphed into something called Chive TV. Both The Chivery and Chive TV still exist today, but under the umbrella of something called Atmosphere TV. An enterprise valued at hundreds of millions of dollars, and one that invites franchisors and franchisees to benefit immensely from what it is they offer. When I return in 2 minutes or less, Leo Resig, co-founder and CEO of Atmosphere, joins me to tell you all about it, and oh yeah, to have a little fun too while doing so.
Franchise Today will be right back, but first, a word from our sponsors.
We are all familiar with Vistage, YPO, and EO. Well, now comes Zor Forum, a somewhat similar type of executive group, but this one comes with a twist. Zor Forum groups are exclusively for franchisors. Imagine a peer group for sharing and networking on a platform built exclusively for franchise executives. Zor Forum members are afforded unparalleled access to best practices and some of the brightest minds within the franchising world through regular meetings and a dedicated communications platform. In this post-COVID world, a franchise-specific mastermind or peer group is an endeavor worth making time for. Zor Forum groups of 6 to 10 will bring leaders together that are in similar situations, but with exclusivity in terms of their competitive sets, so that each can openly help others benefit from their respective knowledge, perspective, and experience with no fear of competitive loss. Network, learn, strategize, and remain motivated along your journey. Join a peer group, not just any peer group. Join the only one designed for emerging franchisors. Join Zor Forum. Learn more at zorforum.org. That's www.zorforum.org. Atmosphere was incubated under Chive Media Group and was spun out in early 2019 as the world's leading streaming TV service for businesses, offering original audio-optional TV channels. With more than 50 channels to choose from, there is a channel appropriate for virtually every business and mood. Atmosphere's TV channels fill the void for businesses in a world dominated by linear cable TV, better suited for at-home viewing. Prior to the birth of Atmosphere, no cable carrier has addressed the needs for TV programming that doesn't require audio or the love of sports in order to be enjoyed. And what's better still is that it costs absolutely nothing for businesses to subscribe to Atmosphere's programming. That's right, business subscriptions are absolutely free. Businesses can also run their own marketing promotions and in-house ads within Atmosphere's content by utilizing a simple digital signage feature, something that cannot be done with live TV programming. Well, it sounds too good to be true, but Leo Resig is here to tell us exactly how it works. Leo Resig, welcome to Franchise Today.
Thanks for having me, Stan. Happy Good to be here.
Happy to have you here as well. Happy to take a bit of a lighter spin today than has been the case. Some pretty heavy interviews over the last few weeks. A lot of discussion over the last many months about the weight that COVID has put on the world. So I think that talking today about something like atmosphere and digital streaming is going to lighten the load a little bit for some of us who might just be a little weary from all that we've been tethered to for the past year plus, which I think probably has played well into your business, but we'll learn more about that as the time goes by here today. Leo, I wanted to share with the audience that you and I in the green room had a conversation about my connection to Bill Murray, and we did that because Mike Kelly on your team made me aware that there's a big Bill Murray connection to your world. Why don't we start there, and then we'll delve more into what Atmosphere does.
Oh, I'd love to. Yeah, I've swapped many Bill Murray stories over the years. Yours was great, though. I love that I've been doing business with Bill now for years, and I'll tell you how I got into that. But I've yet to have lunch with the man, and you have.
Nope, it was breakfast.
It was breakfast. Yeah. That's great. Yeah, our run-in with Bill happened a little over a decade ago. And this is when my brother and I had started a lifestyle and entertainment website called thechive.com. And with that, we were getting into selling t-shirts. We were lucky enough to have millions of people come to our website on a daily basis, still trying to figure out advertising. But what we thought we could do was sell t-shirts because it was, hey, they're at the movies, let's sell them some popcorn mentality. Man, we designed some really bad t-shirts out of the gate. And I was living in Santa Monica at the time and was at a farmer's market and ran into a guy wearing a Bill Murray t-shirt. And it was kind of an artist sketch of Bill, but you could clearly tell it was him. And I approached him and asked, hey man, love your shirt. I'd love to buy one. Where'd you get it? And he goes, actually, I made this t-shirt with a Sharpie, which I thought good for you, but like that's super random that you'd make a Bill Murray t-shirt. So I, of course, asked him, why did you make a Bill Murray t-shirt? And he said, because everyone loves Bill Murray. And he's right. And it gave us a brilliant idea to borrow from this guy that I owe him a beer if I ever meet him again. So we went home and we designed our own rendition of a Bill Murray t-shirt. And then, by the way, this is early days, 0 employees, just my brother and myself just trying to figure things out. And we made a Bill Murray t-shirt and put it for sale on an e-com site called The Chivery. And I think we made like 100 of these shirts and they sold out immediately. So we ordered 500 and they sold out within minutes. And then we ordered, I think, 5,000 and they sold out in minutes again. And we're like, Bill Murray is just that popular and in the zeitgeist that people can't get enough. So of course we started thinking we're kind of stealing Bill's likeness. And if I were Bill, I probably wouldn't be too happy about that. So let's try to get a hold of him and do a royalty agreement and cut him in on the action. But the problem is a lot of people know Bill doesn't have an agent. He doesn't have a manager. He's very difficult to get a hold of. So we tried, knocked down some doors and everyone laughed at us. But we weren't going to stop selling the shirt because it was doing really well and there was a lot of demand for it. So we opened up a new bank account and we just socked away a reasonable royalty. We did some Googling on what celebrities should get paid for these types of deals. So we started socking money away. And this went on for 2 years. And we sold a lot of t-shirts to the tune of millions of t-shirts. So of course the stakes got higher and we wanted to do right by Bill. And luckily he came knocking one day because we get a lot of user generated photos on the Chive and many people were sending photos of them with Bill Murray and they're wearing the Bill Murray t-shirt. They're giving Bill his own t-shirt and he's got that classic deadpan look on his face. Like you can't tell if he thinks this is hilarious or if he's
really pissed.
Yeah, he looked pissed. It's the pictures you showed with me, it's that same Bill Murray look. And you're like, I can't read you at all. So he's done a charity golf tournament with his brothers called the Murray Brothers Caddyshack Charity Golf Tournament on St. Augustine, Florida. And he called us, his people who ran the tournament. Well, they hit us up on social media and they got our emails and by this time we had a handful of employees. And there was one day in the office, myself, my brother, every one of our employees got hit with a message from his team saying, hey, Bill's trying to get a hold of you. He said that you're going to sponsor this charity golf tournament. And so we're like, all right, this is it. This is the day of reckoning has come. And we get on the phone with his people who are organizing the event. And they said, yeah, Bill said that you guys raised your hand to sponsor the event. We're like, absolutely, we're in. How much is it? And it was a big number. And looking back on it, knowing what we know now, they made up this massive number. I think it was Bill just messing with us. But for us, we needed to make good on our partnership. And so we said yes. We went to the golf tournament. We met Bill and he just messed with us. I mean, we wanted to have a 5-minute sit down and say, hey, we've got a bunch of money. Can we how can we pay you and can we keep doing this? And we'd be in the middle of a conversation, he'd just walk away. And we're like, oh my gosh. And we're just so nervous. But it was a fun event and his brothers are hysterical. So we had a good time. Year 2 came along for the event. They called us up again. We sponsored it again. And that was the year we actually got to sit down with Bill. I told him, hey, we're from Indiana. We used to caddy. And he goes, Midwestern boys, you're loopers. All right, we'll work together. And literally that was it. We signed a deal with him. We work with him to this day, sell many, many products with his likeness on it. And even 5 or 6 years ago, we actually started a golf line with him as a forward-facing partner called William Murray Golf, which is a really fun company, golf apparel company. So yeah, we went about it a roundabout way, but we did right by him, and he likes the checks that show up in his mailbox. So we still get to see him and work with him, and he's an absolutely great guy. But he still walks out of meetings early and then shows up a day late or a day before you're actually supposed to have a meeting with him. And he's like, well, I'm here. Let's do this. So he's such a wild card. It's hilarious.
Great story and early days, I guess, for a company that today has taken its second round at serious equity partnership capital with a valuation of $275 million. Your company is pretty serious about what it's doing, and we need to get to a place where we start talking about exactly what that is. So why don't you give us the quick pitch on what it is that Atmosphere does, and then I'm going to ask you to help the audience understand how franchising backed into that.
Yes, definitely. So the long and short is Atmosphere is the leading streaming television programming service for businesses. And what that means is we've always looked at TV programming in businesses, whether it's bars, restaurants, gyms, medical offices. Every business these days opens up, they put a TV or mini TVs on their walls, and the only options they have available to them are cable packages. And that's all well and fine if you're in your living room with the audio on, because most of the content is episodic. It requires audio to follow along context with the talking heads or the dialogue. And we all know from having been in many of these businesses that 95% of the time the audio is off. And so really the only thing that can be enjoyed in this environment is live sports without audio, because you can follow along with the game. But first of all, not everyone's a sports fan. I think the latest Gallup poll, which was in 2016 or 17, only proved that 59% of the population identified themselves as a sports fan. And I think we can all agree, fast forward to today, where there's so much entertaining content out there besides sports, that if I were to guess, I would say that that number has dropped to about 50% would actually identify themselves as sports fans. So what do you put on those screens? And our answer was, with the Chive, we've been curating and packaging viral video content for over a decade. We're really good at that. We know what people like. There's a reason social media platforms are popular. People love Instagram. They love TikTok and Snapchat. And the largest streaming service in the world is not Netflix. It's actually YouTube. And so what we do is we take the best videos from YouTube, from Instagram. We license them directly from the creators, and we package them for a streaming TV channel. In this case, it was Chive TV. It was our first channel. And we wanted to seed the market and see if people wanted it. So we got on the Chive. This is 5 years ago. Got on the Chive and said, hey, does anyone own a bar or restaurant? And do you want this fun, lighthearted, viral video type content? And it turns out thousands of businesses wanted this. We can coexist with sports. We're not trying to replace cable quite yet. We can get to that later. But for now, we're just a great audio option for all businesses. And the best part about our service is we're absolutely free. And the reason we're free is because if you think back when TV started, how did they pay for the production of the TV shows? Advertising. So for us, we give away great content for free and we subsidize it with advertising, and it's a win-win for everyone. And so now, today, Atmosphere as a platform has Chive TV and 50 other audio optional channels made for all different types of businesses and lots of different types of specifically bars and restaurants.
There's a word that I saw coined as a phrase that I absolutely loved when I started researching more about what you do, and that was the post-cable world. Mm-hmm. As a Comcast hater, I love those words. Those resonated loudly with me.
Yeah.
And the other thing I noticed was it wasn't until after I started having conversations with Mike Kelly, which led up to this interview today, that I realized that I see Chive TV when I pump Shell gasoline into my car. Mm-hmm. Standing at the pump, I'm watching Chive. And I didn't know that, didn't pay attention to it until I actually knew that Chive TV was connected with Atmosphere.
Yep. Gas station TV has been a great partner. They have the market cornered on television screens on gas pumps. And they reached out to us and wanted some light-hearted, happy content that's really snackable while someone's pumping their gas. So yeah, we've been working with those folks for a while. And it's been great for us, for people like you who've just seen our product in the wild. So it's great marketing and exposure for us.
So we're going to get to the franchise piece of this, but before we do, I just have to throw out one more of my personal grievances. And I see that it's part of your world too. And I'm certainly hoping that by the time I may start getting back to airports and flying again, that maybe I can find Chive or Atmosphere replacing CNN, because I've had enough of them too.
I think a lot of people have. And for those of you listening who don't know, CNN Airports has been a staple in many of the largest airports in the U.S. in the common areas. And they recently pulled out of all their contracts. And they said it was due to lack of air travel, that it just wasn't, the juice wasn't worth the squeeze anymore. And we all know this world's going to go back to traveling again en masse. Will business travel go down a little bit? Absolutely. But leisure travel is going to go through the roof. And we're going to get back to traveling again. And the airports are going to be full. So what I think happened is too many people complained. 50% of the population in the U.S. does not like CNN, and the other half does not like Fox News. So I think the airports got enough pressure for CNN to back out. So we see a huge opportunity. I think Chive TV is a good fit. I don't think it's the best fit for airports, which is why we're actually almost done incubating a new news channel called Atmosphere News. It's been a fun challenge to figure out, because how can you report the day's news without audio? No one wants the talking heads like you brought up. Like, no one wants the opinions. Just give me the news. And people are hungry for it. And so we hired a gentleman named Blake Sabatinelli. He came from a great organization called Newsy. There's two kind of streaming first news services that made it. One's called Newsy, one's called Cheddar. And Newsy is operated under the Scripps Network out of Cincinnati. And it's a fantastic channel. And we're so lucky to have Blake on our team to ramp up Atmosphere News and to go after the opportunity that is not only in airports, but we're looking at hotel lobbies and common areas and college campuses for this product as well.
All right. So since this is not a long form show, I think at some point we're going to have to get to the franchise connection.
Absolutely.
Talk a bit about how franchising and you found each other. What did that look like?
Yeah, exactly that. We found each other. This business started with having a direct connection with a lot of mom and pops, mostly on the bar and restaurant side of the business. And we were able to seed the market with our product by getting into a lot of these single or multiple venue owners, not necessarily franchises. And what happened is once we got a few thousand customers playing Chive TV, as the world works, just because you own a franchise, you go eat at other places, right? You got to see what your competition's doing. And quite frankly, you want the variety. So while we're a B2B business, we don't make Atmosphere available to consumers. It's a B2B business that's consumer facing, right? And so what's great about that for us is we're able to acquire new customers and new business owners because they've seen our product in the wild. And so there would be a franchise owner who goes into a mom and pop that's playing our content and they can't stop watching it, or the kids love the channel, and the light bulb kind of goes off in their head and they say, wow, this is great. What is this? I need this for my business. So really, we got into franchising kind of bottoms up, because as everyone knows, it's always difficult to work with larger organizations, whether it's corporate with franchises or with just a larger franchisee where they've got a million things to figure out and work on and with their own business. And to be honest, TV programming isn't on the top of their list. But once they see our product and the effect that it has on their customers, then they're sold. And so that's how we were able to, I guess, infiltrate a lot of the franchises that we're in right now.
So in some short sound bites, what is it exactly that you would do for a franchisor, and what is the product that would be featured at a franchisee's location, and why is this so commercially viable?
Number one on the list is it's free, and it's saving certain franchises hundreds of thousands of dollars because they're literally able to cut the cord. A great example is Teriyaki Madness is saving almost $300,000 a year because they cut the cord and they're not running cable. In a business like that, most of what you're paying for in a cable package is live sports, and most of their customers don't go there to watch TV. And so we're an awesome alternative for that. Definitely in bars, we keep people there longer, so they order more drinks. They stay 19% longer, which is the equivalent to ordering another beer. 16% return business. We worked with a company called In Market who did this study for us. So businesses are literally able to get people to come back to their business. We have a digital signage feature of our product, which is actually a paid service where our customers can pay $50 a month to run their own house promotions. So they're able to advertise drink specials, food specials, teeth whitening at the dentist, come back this day for this event. And so it literally acts as a billboard on premise to activate their patrons, to get them to spend more money or come back. And that's why it's just proved to have an ROI on it, whether you have the basic version for free or the pro paid version. Our product literally makes your business more money.
And then the content that you're broadcasting at a particular location can be tailored and customized to that location, if I understand correctly.
Absolutely. Out of the 50 channels that we have a custom playlist feature. So to steal the lines, set it and forget it, our customers can choose up to 7 different channels, and they can take 30 seconds. You choose your 7 channels, and you can choose how long you want each channel to run, anywhere from 15, 30, 45 minutes or an hour. And then it automatically changes to the next channel. So instead of just having one channel on all day, every day, while we do update the content very regularly to keep it fresh, we feel it's a better experience to rotate through our suite of channels because they're all great. They're all family friendly, and they do fit most any environment, especially because the audio's off, so it's non-disruptive.
So who do you deal with? Do you deal with the franchisee or with the franchisor?
We deal with both. The Restaurant Leadership Conference and the National Restaurant Association have been awesome places to meet these folks. The answer is always both. And we have some folks who actually work with us as advertisers. At the end of the day, like I said, this is how we make money. We run ads. And so who do we run ads for? Well, in bars and restaurants, beer and liquor customers, entertainment customers, gaming customers, they want to reach that audience. But one example is Hooters. They see the power in advertising their commercials in other businesses to get people to come back to their business. So we work with folks on both levels for new customer acquisition on the franchise level and for advertising.
Tell you what, let's take a quick break right here. And when we come back, let's dive a little deeper into exactly how a franchisor may want to take note of this opportunity and what it is that it can mean both for them economically as well as for their franchisees. We're talking with Leo Resig. He's the CEO of Atmosphere TV. We'll be right back with more.
Franchise Today will be right back, but first, a word from our sponsors.
This portion of Franchise Today is brought to you by Zoracle, providers of spot-on profiles, the gold standard of assessment tools that assure you're selecting the right franchisees every time. Unlike DISC or others that simply gauge personality or communication styles, Zoracle's spot-on assessments are all franchise-specific and based upon 7 sciences that nail the results each and every time. Your prospects simply answer a few questions online, and like magic, Zoracle's algorithms scientifically slice, dice, and analyze their thresholds for risk, their business acumen, and even their propensity for single or multi-unit ownership. Zoracle's spot-on analysis is like having a crystal ball, but there's no hoodoo here. It's all based upon science that flawlessly determines franchisee, franchisor compatibility, and accurately predicts performance. Why don't you schedule a demo today and take a complimentary look and see for yourself? It's the closest thing to a sure thing. Zoracle, spot-on assessments based on science, but delivering results that seem simply magical. Check them out at www.zoracleprofiles.com. And my conversation continues with Leo Resig, CEO of Atmosphere TV, the world's largest streaming video concept. And I'm willing to bet that, like me, you've probably never heard of this company before, but you're going to want to take note of what Leo and I are talking about because it could have significant impact on your bottom line. So, Leo, how did Teriyaki Madness discover you, or how did you discover them?
Yeah, Teriyaki Madness came about with the first sales guy we hired 5 years ago, Joey Martinez, established that relationship. And with all of these multi-venue franchises, everyone, wisely enough, when it's a new product, they just want to do a test. So we tested it in a handful of locations. We got our customers' feedback, and then we got their feedback, and it was a no-brainer for them to roll it out across their entire network. So yeah, it always starts with a test, and we're always confident. We love doing tests, and we've never done a test and no one's not liked it. So it's just it's definitely a crawl before run situation.
So what does the test look like, and who is the sweet spot for this? If a brand is an emerging brand and only has a few locations, is this as viable for them as it would be for somebody with hundreds?
Oh, absolutely. The same way we're building our business, we have a front row seat to a lot of great new franchises that are in brands that are popping up that have massive growth plans and potential. So we never turn down a customer. If they have one location, we love you just as much as if you have 1,000 locations. And so, yeah, we like to grow with our customers. When working with a franchisor who is equipping their franchisees and setting them up for success, a lot of times we're recommended as a preferred vendor. We're not mandated. In certain cases, we are mandated. It's harder to mandate a product that the franchisees need to pay for. They can get a little disgruntled when from the top down they're being told what to spend money on. But for us, because we're free and because we add a lot of value to their businesses, but we're happy to just be recommended, and we'll attend all the trade shows if they exist to go demo our product for everyone to see.
When you say you're free, so you're free to the end user. How do you make your money?
Yeah, we're free to the end user. The asterisk with free is we do charge a $100 setup fee. We do provide a fully provisioned Apple TV device to our customers. That's our quote unquote set-top box. And honestly, it's funny when you give away a free product, sometimes customers don't appreciate the value of it because it was given to them, which is why we decided to implement the setup fee to make sure that our customers were serious about implementing it. And it wasn't maybe a lower level employee who loved our product and reached out to us pretending to be the manager. We needed to make sure that the decision maker was ordering the service. And then, like I said, it's free because we can subsidize it with advertising. So the trade-off is get great content for free. Other than the activation fee, you get the subscription for free. And then we run ads. And we do have an ad-free version. If a location wants 0 ads playing, and we do have a few customers that want a 0 ad experience, then in that case, we do charge $100 per month if you pay by month, or it's a 20% discount if you pay up front for a year for that ads-free version.
So I read that your mantra is distribution at all costs, but the reality is it's distribution at no cost when it comes to the franchisor or franchisee. Your money and your revenue are generated by having one more outlet with many sets of eyeballs that are viewing commercials that you're able to place inside the programming that is being offered for free at the site or location.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. A business like this, when we joke about how everyone hates Comcast, it's because they've just been burned so many times with poor customer service and hidden charges. And the charges keep going up and up and up. And that's why Comcast, Charter, Cox, they're all losing cable subscribers because they haven't treated their customers with a lot of respect over the years. So we're learning from their mistakes. And we have a personal relationship with all of our customers. We have an amazing account management team that will answer the phone when you call and help with any troubleshooting of the product if it exists. So yeah, if our customers are happy, they're going to keep us playing. They're going to tell their friends about it. And the network effect, the flywheel, is only increased by the more and more people that play our product.
And so I'm reading where Atmosphere TV says it now reaches 17 million people per month across the U.S. through your network, with a goal of reaching more than 50 million by the end of this year. And on the advertiser front, you've got 100 plus direct advertisers and thousands more that are reached through your programmatic media buys, all of which you say are 100% G-rated and family friendly.
No, absolutely. YouTube had a problem a while ago with advertisers finding out that their content was running up against something that was offensive or didn't align with their brand or wasn't brand safe. And so we learned a lot from that. And quite frankly, it's not worth us putting any content on our screens that would offend anyone ever. Even, we all love fails and people falling out of trees on their ladders or chainsaws or just being goofballs and getting it caught on tape, which is literally why America's Funniest Home Videos is the longest running TV program in TV history, because we can't get enough of this stuff. But honestly, we have a policy in-house. If someone gets injured too bad, and we don't really know how bad they got injured, but if you're wincing a little too hard, we just have a policy not to put that on the screen. We don't want to make anyone feel bad or uncomfortable about the content. And so that's why our advertisers love to work with us. They know that their ads, they're never going to come up against any sort of offensive content.
And from a licensing and an integrity perspective, all of these videos are completely clear of any royalty. There are no shortcuts being taken to where a franchisor or a franchisee has to worry about ASCAP or a BMI type scenario coming back. And just like Bill Murray, they haven't been saving up a piggy bank of money to pay in royalties. None of that's going to happen here, correct?
Yeah, it just can't, right? It's not worth it. B, it's just too easy to license content these days. We have an amazing process to get rights clearance from individual content creators. And there's a lot of third-party content aggregation shops, much like a Getty Images or an AP Images where you can license photographs. There's entire businesses built around acquiring massive libraries of viral video content. So it makes it very easy for us to license and clear 100% of that content. And to your point earlier, we've raised nearly $40 million for this business, and it's going really well. We're growing really fast. There's absolutely no need to ever cut corners and ruin the momentum that we've got.
To that point, Leo, you've got some type of an offer for the franchisor community today, don't you?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're happy to waive the $100 activation fee for anyone listening to this. Email us at franchise@atmosphere.tv. That's not .com, it's atmosphere.tv. And we're in just reference Stan and that you heard the podcast. And
reference Bill Murray.
Yeah. Bill Murray or Stan, either way.
And what about contact info for those that may want to take a deeper dive before sending in the email for registration? What about somebody who just wants to talk further about this or study up on it further before they send that email? Where do you want to direct them for that?
Yeah, our website, atmosphere.tv, is chocked full of most of what we went over on the call today. You can actually preview and watch all of our channels. You can watch a 1-minute trailer that'll give you the full breadth of what's in that channel in 1 minute. Phone numbers on the website if you want to call and talk to anyone. There's a chat. Someone on our end will absolutely answer any questions you have. And then, the franchise@atmosphere.tv email is a great one to use. And there's a form on the website. You can also fill in your information. Make it really easy to get a hold of us.
So, Leo, this is way off the reservation for my typical interviews. So I'm going to ask if there are any questions that I haven't asked that you wish that I did.
I think you covered everything. You can ask me back on your show, and I'd love to come on.
Let's see if we can't stimulate some interest in what it is you're doing in today's world, especially post-COVID world, where unit-level economics matter more than they've ever mattered before. Mm-hmm. If you can take the expense side of a franchisor or a franchisee's business and reduce it to the numbers that you used for Teriyaki Madness, then this becomes something of a no-brainer that hopefully will help the franchise world benefit from something that's free and available to them and right under their nose.
Yep, absolutely. And everyone's going to love our news channel as well. It's going to be a lot of positive news on there. I forgot to mention that. So a great alternative to add to the variety of Atmosphere's channel lineup.
It's been a ton of fun, Leo. I'm looking forward to learning more myself. And we'll do that. We'll have you back for a follow-up after getting some people acclimated to the world that Atmosphere provides. Leo Resig, it's been a real pleasure. Thanks for joining us today on Franchise Today.
Likewise, Stan. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, how cool was that? And be sure to take Leo up on his offer to receive the free Apple TV box and setup just for mentioning Franchise Today, yours truly, or even Bill Murray in your email. Next week, we'll be joined by a longtime friend and senior franchise development professional, Greg Koffler, as he brings us news of great new things happening at Roy Rogers Restaurants, an iconic brand with more than 50 years of history, coupled with some exciting new innovations. Until then, keep hitting the gas harder while making great things happen for yourselves and all of those in your orbit. I'm Stan Friedman, wishing you the best, the very best of all things franchising, and Franchise Today is out.
Franchise Today is a production of FRM Solutions, providing best-in-class CRM tools to empower relationships with prospective and existing franchisees. No excuses, just solutions. Find them online at frmsolutions.com. Join Stan every Wednesday at noon Eastern for another live episode of Franchise Today. Or, as always, download episodes on demand at blogtalkradio.com or iTunes.
When it's PCS time, you know the drill. Pack, research the new base, get the kids in school, because family supports family. At American Public University, we support military families with flexible, affordable online education that moves with you. As a military spouse, your tuition rate is the same as your partner's, just $250 per credit hour. American Public University, education that moves with you. Learn more at apu.apus.edu/military.